Hello there. Great news from the US Vice President J.D. Vance about a UK-US trade deal. But everyone's forgetting that it will come with a human rights caveat that both the UK government and the EU will find completely unacceptable. If the US and UK are to truly get a great deal, someone somewhere must have blinked. Either the UK has agreed to bow to Trump's demands over the human right to freedom of expression, something that would put the UK at loggerheads with the EU, or the US has agreed that the UK can continue to stifle free speech, including US big social media tech, something the EU would be very happy with. Now, both the FTSE 100 and 250 rose on the words from J.D. Vance that there is a good chance of a great trade deal between the UK and the US. But as I said, that deal will come with a problem for the UK establishment and its relations with the European Union. That of the human right to freedom of expression. Both the UK and the EU establishments that are still tied politically at the hip despite Brexit abhor the masses having the right to the freedom of expression. And just to spell it out, we do not have free speech either in the UK nor in the EU. No, we have a slow ratchet system that uses woke arguments to gradually expel certain words and concepts out of our language, all very 1984. But it is happening. Whereas in the US, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have recognised the danger to democracy and the West of this continual, ever more control over what we can and cannot say, and ultimately in what we can and cannot think. And they in the US are fighting against it, trying to roll it back. But the UK and EU authorities recoil at the very hint of a pushback against their decades-long successes of gagging the people. And the Ramona-infested UK blob will be quite happy to come under Brussels' stifling rules, but it will never, ever agree to be bound by the US First Amendment via the back door. I mean, how can they build their perfect society constructed around the needs of a certain new preferred demographic if the rest of us can openly criticise and protest against it? No, that will not be allowed to happen. And on the other side of the coin, the US will not want to be doing some sort of deal with a country that would be allowed to stifle US big tech social media or try to politicise it through the back door of so-called regulation. The US will not want to end up under a UK or EU or joint EU-UK deal that would bring their big tech companies under the de facto jurisdiction of the ECJ or our Supreme Court, for example. As I said, with talk about this possible deal, someone somewhere has blinked. But what worries me at the moment is I've not seen a public denouncement from either the PM Keir Starmer nor from the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper firmly slapping down the activities of those activist lawyers trying to get the terrorist group Hamas removed from the proscribed list. It seems Hamas will have its freedom of expression allowed. But those who used hurty words online or showed a film or got locked away from disagreeing for that, well, it's different for them, isn't it? I reckon there are a great many MPs and people in the wider Labour Party who would love to see Hamas free to operate in the UK once more, and then introduce the blasphemy laws to nip any criticism of it in the bud by having those people labelled far right and jailed for a phobia, using up the prison spaces oh so conveniently emptied due to overcrowding. Now, talking to Unheard, the US Vice President said that Donald Trump really loves the UK and that he loved the Queen, admires and loves the King, and regards UK-US ties as a very important relationship. There's a real cultural affinity, and of course, fundamentally, America is an Anglo country, he said. But I fear, just like the UK and US, as George Bernard Shaw put it, being one people separated by a common language, we are becoming one people separated by a common set of human rights. I.e., it sounds and looks the same, but in practice it is not. And with the freedom of expression, the right to free speech lies in the US First Amendment for them. In the UK, it lies within control of the day-to-day thoughts of ministers. And when those ministers are more and more anti-UK as our demographics change, then the free speech of the settled population will come under ever-increasing threat. And we are witnessing that right now, the increasing two-tier society. The question is, will a trade deal with the US start to unravel that? Finally, please like, subscribe and comment below, and thank you for watching.